we're here with Dr. Jim Shames, Jackson County, and we just really appreciated you taking the time. You know, the weather this year has been so crazy. It's dry, and then all of a sudden it changes really fast, and flu season's here. So we wanted to kind of just talk to you a little bit, see what's happening with the flu season, what you're hearing, what you're seeing out there in Jackson County.
Okay, well, as you said, when it gets wet and people come indoors and start hanging out together, generally they're starting to pass respiratory viruses around, and influenza is probably one of the more serious diseases that we do spread that way. Flu season starts about October or so, and it usually peaks at about the early part of the year, so January, February. And I don't know that this is going to be particularly worse or better. Every flu season is serious, and the instructions are about the same, which is get your flu shot, and when you're sick, stay home, try and avoid getting other people sick. Cover your cough, you know, at least like that. Wash your hands frequently, and stay healthy.
So it's just beginning here in October, so there's lots of ways to get shots. It's not too late to get shots. How long can we get shots all the way through the season?
Pretty much. You can usually get shots all the way through the season. If you wait too long, usually what happens is kind of flu gets to town, and then it ramps up, and over a 2, 3, 4 week period of time, a lot of people get sick, and then it kind of goes to the next town. And so the trick, of course, is getting ahead of the curve, getting your flu shot early, and I would say now would be perfect.
You know, I had a nurse come to our office building, and all the businesses in our office building all went down and got our shots, which was great. Where are some other places people can go get their shots?
Almost every pharmacy has got shots. Public health makes it really easy. You can just come on in, get the shots. We know what are the appropriate things to advise you about based upon your age. We have lots of different alternatives available, and you can also get other immunizations you might need, like the Pneumovax shot or shots for kids.
Each year there's kind of different medicines in the flu shot, anticipating what's going to be out there. Is there anything in this year's that's different or the same that's really important that people know are in the shots?
Well, usually between pandemic years, and of course we had a pandemic H1N1 influenza a number of years ago, usually what you get in the shot is just a minor variation on the previous years. Because influenza virus does mutate and changes, and sometimes as it moves around the globe, it can change enough that your antibodies from the previous year may not protect you for the following year. When there's a brand new influenza, one that either people have never seen or very few people have seen, then a lot of people get sick, and depending on the severity of that particular influenza, they could get very ill, but at least the volume of sickness is usually pretty high. So we had that. Now that particular virus is part of the shot you get every year. So you get an H1N1 component of your flu shot, but it hasn't changed remarkably from the last couple of years.
So I know that one of the things that we really, I guess, struggle with a little bit as a community is especially with parents and getting their kids to get shots. Talk a little bit about why, just maybe some of the myths or some of the things about the shot that kind of float out there that really aren't true.
Well, it's a safe vaccine, and the complication rate is very low. Children don't have to get injections. There can be nasal spray for somewhat older children. And the disease, we talk about the flu, and part of it is the problem of the fact that we use that term so loosely. Oh, I had the flu, I was out of work for a couple of days, I had the stomach flu. Well, you probably didn't. Influenza is fairly serious, and some people get really sick with it. Kids with asthma, kids who have underlying illness, with genetic diseases, people with diabetes, pregnant women, newborn babies, those people don't do well when they get the flu. And so, in part, it's a message that influenza can kill people, and it does every year by the tens of thousands. And the other is that you may be healthy enough to struggle through, take some time off work and do okay. But that little kid that you just met, or the person next door, the person at work, may not be able. They may have underlying disease of some sort. So do it for yourself, do yourself a favor, and do it for your community.
What is it that we should do to just, once again, help us from spreading the flu around our community as much as we can? Just,
I think the most important thing is stay home when you're sick. I think all of us, myself included, push yourselves and you say, well, I can do this. I'm big and strong and I can go to work when I'm sick. But it's really not about you. It's about the people sitting across from you, the people who you sneezed on, people who you shook hands with, people whose doorknob they touched just after you did. So that's the reason. Don't spread your disease around, especially if you work or play in an environment in close quarters with other people. So that's the problem with schools. The wonderful thing about schools is kids have contact with lots of other kids. The problem with schools is that kids have contact with lots of kids and they spread disease very easily. So that's the first thing. The second is understand the mechanism of spread. If you cough or sneeze, droplets leave you and can end up in somebody else's mucous membranes. If you have it on your hands and you touch an inanimate object and somebody else does soon after, you can spread the disease that way. So avoid those things. Wash your hands frequently when you're sick. Get your own fork and plate and cup, and that's what you use as long as you're sick, and do your best to protect others.